Gr11, choice 1, 29th of September 2020.
They're nowhere near.
Second 45-minute lesson. Action.
I can't even have another break yet. Why? 12 o'clock. It's still another 45 minutes. Yep.
Some of them run and they just go slower. Okay. Right, okay, the men. Sit up. Let's clap him one.
That's another very nice wake up.
Okay, right, we're ready, we're going. Okay. All right. So that is primary succession. And the defining features of primary succession are no organisms initially, so there are no seeds, no whatever to produce new organisms. The new ones that grow here, Samantha, are ones where seeds or spores have blown in on the wind. Okay, and the second thing is, generally speaking, no soil. Okay. All right, we spoke about that, Climax communities may change if conditions change. In other words, if climate changes or whatever, then the actual climax communities and the organisms that make them up may change. It may take thousands of years for a pioneer community to develop into a climax. And this is just a series of pictures that show that. So this is a glacier in a glacial valley. It melted and retreated, so left with just bare rock and sand. Over time, little lichens and moss grow, and bigger plants and bigger, and then that was the final climax community within that particular valley. Okay. Secondary succession. Established communities are periodically altered by natural forces such as floods, fires, hurricanes, and earthquakes. Living organisms that have existed there, living organisms had existed there, and there is soil in this case. After a disturbance, the forces start again. But remember, there were living organisms and there is soil. So depending on...
That's one.
Make him. Yes, my angel.
Alex is struggling to hear you.
Is she? Okay, I'll talk louder because I'm so quiet and ladylike. Okay, so Alex, just let me know if you can hear now. Okay, so a secondary succession occurs, and where a secondary succession starts depends on how far back it went when this force changed the community. Okay, so as was the case during the initial development of a community, you'll get early colonizers which have adaptations that allow themselves to establish a population quickly, and they're very common at first. And then you get later arriving species that generally have K strategy reproduction. A definition of K strategy reproduction. Let's go. Sam.
I don't know, Mel.
Sam. Haley.
They produce large offspring, a low amount of them,
Number.
low number of them, high parental care,
Good survival rate. High rate of survival. Okay, so later you get in this succession, the more the tendency is to K strategy species, but not only K strategy. Okay, so this just shows it's a sort of cycle thing. So here you've got a climax community growing. There's a disturbance that occurs, for example, a fire. and it kills a lot of the plants that are there. Grasses grow, shrubs grow, small trees grow, and it becomes a climax forest again. So depending on the environment, you don't always get a climax forest. If conditions are not suited for a forest, you're not going to get a climax that is a forest. Whose watch is that? Okay. Right, there we go. Fire, small annual plants, perennial plants. Do you know what an annual plant is?
A plant that grows like comes here once a year.
Okay, no. It completes its life cycle within a year. So sometimes it won't even last a whole year. So it's important that you don't confuse this with something that lives for a year. It may only last like 3 months. Who's just had primulas in their garden?
I had those little like blossom things. It was like, I'm
Oh, well, that narrows it down. The little like blossom things. White and purple.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So they germinated in about February. They were tiny little plants, and then they flowered about 2 months ago, and they flowered for about a month.
Is that a yesterday, today, tomorrow?
No.
No, this one, not just.
Because a yesterday, no, they're tiny. A yesterday, today, and tomorrow is a shrub that lasts for many years. So, correct term, perennial. So, an annual is an organism that completes its life cycle within a year. A perennial is one that lives for more than a year. Okay.
Doesn't a fire actually like help a forest?
It depends on the forest. So if you look at fynbos, for example, down in the Cape, there are lots of plant species that live in fynbos where the seeds only germinate if a fire goes through. But not all communities require fire.
So like if you think about the Amazon, when there was those fires there, surely that will like that won't grow back because it's not used over fires.
It depends on whether there were seeds and whether the seeds were protected enough. Yeah. Okay, all right. So secondary succession is much faster than a primary. So a climax community may develop over a period of about 150 years. It depends on the situation and the conditions. Okay. What Americans call dirt is actually soil. What Americans call bugs are actually insects. If you call something a bug, I will eat you. You should be able to compare a primary and secondary succession. How good are you on tabulation?
Mom, so you ask us to like draw.
I may. Okay. I have no idea. Okay, right, so going. I ask you to draw a table comparing primary and secondary succession. You will start with, Connor, go. A scratch of the head. That's going to get you how many marks? 0. Good, as long as you know that. Garrett, you will start with.
Pioneer species.
Mwiza.
We talking about like regulation and saving, right?
Yes.
E.
Joshua. Yes, stop asking stupid questions. Joshua, go.
You start with primary one color and secondary another color.
Eliflia.
Bare rock, and then it's either like the forest, the climax forest, or the disaster of the fire.
Chloe.
I was like no life before and then after disaster.
Okay. Tamela.
I wasn't even saying anything.
Teresa. What are you going to start with? Jen.
This was the secondary session.
Lamla.
And
Yeah. Yes!
What table?
Wow.
They're hitting.
Useless bunch of morons.
No, it's not.
Was that easy?
We both had to ask, she ready to go.
I thought you meant like in the actual
I know, but I didn't.
No, but I
Okay. I cannot tell you how many kids in a test and exam lose a mark for not putting a heading. And to the extent that we're now giving 2 marks for the heading. One for is it there, and the second one is it complete. Which means that if you leave it out, you lose 2 marks.
like my headings at the end.
I beg your pardon?
I like my headings at the end, so now I know.
Do you?
Yes, because I know what to do.
Okay,
Okay.
what should we bet here?
60 rand. More chocolate brownies. No,
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme.
I can't make sure.
Or do donuts.
Okay,
No, man.
first time you have a test or exam or anything where you have a table and you forget to do a heading. Krispy Kreme.
Can you also make for the class?
Man, that's expensive. Yeah,
No, hold on, I don't care.
you have that.
Don't forget your heading.
Yes, exactly.
And then if I do my heading, you're going to buy Krispy Kreme for all of us. You know?
Yes.
Then it's a deal. Then it's a deal.
Have you just turned on me, you little brat? Do I not mark your test?
Is it a deal, man? Because
No.
you think you're getting Krispy Kreme.
No.
Not put it out in us.
Then I don't accept the terms and conditions.
Are you correct? I'm doubting you. I'm doubting Joshua.
So then if
Mostly.
you doubt me, then make the deal, man.
No.
Also, you don't
No, hold on, I've already brought food.
Huh?
Yeah, that's,
Man, this is a fair deal.
Man, this is not even fun wearing anymore.
You were probably away.
Did you do it again?
No, I'm saying if I do it again, then I don't have.
You brought us cake!
Do you not remember?
Slabbed over a hot stove for hours. Oh no, wait, I didn't. I don't have a stove.
No, I don't remember because I don't think I was here, man.
I wasn't here.
And so that's whose fault?
Yeah, but you want to make the deal or not, man?
No.
Okay, why not, man?
No, so the heading
You don't deal with it. No,
The second
I'll
time.
It should be before. For a table, heading is at the top. TNT bottom, table, top. Okay. And in fact, it doesn't matter what you do in bio. If you don't do it at the top, you tend to forget to do it. And so I'm happy to say to you, whether it's a drawing or a graph or whatever, please just put it at the top. Otherwise, you forget to do it. Although I'm fine with just forgetting, because we're going to get crispy. Okay, nothing. Okay, right, we're ready, we're going. All right, guys, you may use the rest of this lesson. And remember, I swore I was not going to do this again because last time I did it, you guys all just sat and did nothing as usual. So, at your desk, learning hard for the test.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
It's only because if I start a new section, you'll all start whining. All right.
45 minutes.
So,
Grade
yeah,
11 plus 1.
work there. Weezer, Josh.